Scarlet, Scarlet, the Yankees are coming, the Yankees are coming. Oh, I'm gonna get out of Atlanta before they burn it through the ground. I just don't, Scarlet, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I simply do not know what to do. Where are my smelling salts? Atlanta fell all over again in 8 seconds. Floor after floor upon floor after floor of steel and concrete and desks and chairs and memos and pictures of the kids slamming down one upon the other upon the next upon ton after ton after ton on top of the heads of little old ladies and MBAs and Billy in the grounds department picking the onion off his everything bagel and all the mailroom clerks and all the CEOs and the secretaries, 110 floors of life slamming down onto their heads just one floor below and flattening them, exploding them, smashing their cells apart like overripe tomatoes caught beneath a mile-high slab of smooth concrete. In 8 tiny seconds, Franny Riccardelli, who was in charge of all vertical movement in both towers, Franny Riccardelli, who ran back into the building trying to save the people caught in the elevator cars who had already died behind the closed doors. Franny Riccardelli, with the bad breath and the big smile, who is my friend since the third week of the fourth grade and asked me to be his Holy Roman sponsor even though he was 2 days older than me. Franny Riccardelli, who had 5 kids and a wonderful wife and a huge smile. Franny Riccardelli, who could not be buried because there was nothing left to bury. His teeth and eyes and tongue and fingers and ass and blood and bad breath blown to the winds in a half a heartbeat, blown apart, unable to resist the mile of concrete crashing down upon his head. His big, toothy smile shattered forever, except for the memories and the videotapes his wife, his widow, will now play for his 5 fatherless children. Franny Riccardelli blown apart, while I watched from my fabulous Thank You Jesus Greenwich Village loft on the 9th floor, facing south down over the man-made canyon of southern Manhattan, looking directly downtown with my spectacular three-quarter views, drinking coffee on my terrace, facing south, loving the view, my view, with the clear blue sky and the smell of the morning and not thinking about that plane until it explodes, the perfect view from my terrace in the blink of an eye. On the phone, screaming, crying, shaking, watching Atlanta fall in 8 seconds. The only thought left in my head, how many people did I just watch die? Walking around, staggering, stunned in the sudden quarantine of 14th Street, roped off and filled with speeding tanks and militia and empty ambulances and tired firemen dragging their feet up 6th Avenue, while the rest of us give a standing ovation on the curb. And Virginia, the sexy Puerto Rican grandmother in the fluorescent green stretch pants who cleans my apartment every other Tuesday, she runs out with bottles of water and throws her arms around some hunky Irishman covered in dust and death, throws her arms around him and kisses him. My hero, my hero. Walking around in the gathering dust, the dust in the gentle change of wind, dust and asbestos and concrete, and something else floating up from the financial district, a scent we all recognize in our guts, something sick, something more than just dust mixed in with the smoke and the concrete. Walking around the village, surrounded by thousands of smiling faces, Xeroxed in black and white and color, smiling faces of the recently lost, plastered on every available inch of storefront like wallpaper on the A&P and Ray's Original Pizza. Silent ghosts of husbands and sons and sisters and lovers and daughters and cousins and fathers and mothers and Franny Riccadelli, all lost and waiting to be found. Have you seen? Have you seen? Have you seen? In some hospital, probably, right? Maybe? No, no, no. The hospitals are sad and empty and waiting for someone, anyone, to come in. Smiling faces, blown apart, all lost until we breathe them in through our nostrils and down into our lungs, and then we spit them back up, gagging. Ugh, I can't sleep anymore. All I want to do is get a gun and shoot somebody. I mean that in a good way. I mean, I don't know. Oh, the times. I hate the times. Thank God for the times. I love the times. Every day, the Times picks through the rubble with far greater success than all the rescue workers combined, picking through smashed remains for these smiling faces, for the lives lost, finds them and reduces them to a smiling face and a headline. Bronco busting Boy Scout, loving son and broker. Today, September 11th, 2002, exactly 1 year to the day later, they found Frank Riccadelli, planner of family fun. A lot out. I mean, they left out how Franny and I used to wait until the sun went down in my backyard and catch lightning bugs. How we used to think that we could decode their little blinking language and understand them, caught forever in the eternal embrace of a pickle jar. Scarlet Melody, where's my sense of humor? Oh, where's my sense of humor? Well, I don't know where that. Wait a minute, here it is. Look at this. Katie Couric is getting an $80 million raise. Katie stayed up 48 hours straight. So her hairdresser, what's he getting? Perhaps I would feel more secure if I read the full story and not just the headlines on the way to the subway. Man, how do I prepare for bioterrorist attacks? I mean, I thought it was lucky because I got through AIDS crisis in one piece, but now I have to worry about dirty bombs in Times Square just when my career's taken off. Everyone's a critic. I finally bought a cell phone when we started bombing Kuwait. I mean, Afghanistan. No, personally, I like the theme music for the Gulf War better. The night I became one with my Pittipatt with Aunt. You remember Aunt Pittipatt, Scarlett O'Hara's hysterical, snuff-swilling, paranoid aunt with the sausage curls. I remember smoking a big fat joint, and I sit in front of my television watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer when George W. Bush, the new kid on the block, interrupts all programming while the 2000 election is still being counted with the Chads, and he stands in front of our American flag and he declares, well, okay, now I won the election, y'all. That's all there is to it. Let's see. He interrupts all Friday night programming to declare his victory. And I thought, well, for sure there's going to be a riot in the streets. I mean, when was the last time we had our very own coup d'etat? Like a bird, trapped in a closet, bouncing off walls, flapping for cover, grasping at headlines or snippets or sound bites from some refuge from my fluttering paranoia. And the revolution going on outside my door. Atlanta's burning, where are my smelling salts? But there's no revolution, there's no reaction, no crowds breaking glass, stealing jeans, torching cars, nothing. Don't you know that good old boy got just what he wanted? Like a spoiled little rich kid, entitled to something he wants simply because he wants it? That is a little boy with the dime store eyes. W. I didn't vote for him. I'd fuck him, but I would never vote for him. I remember thinking when we invaded Kuwait, I don't even like these people. I mean, they would kill me just because of who I sleep with. Like I said, everyone's a critic. I guess someone somewhere must think that this whole thing was a good idea. I wish I could understand that. I truly do. Like David and Goliath, I mean, I guess David got tired of hiding in his stinking little caves while the giants stomped around the villages. He got tired of watching his children play hopscotch with landmines and having his tongue ripped out and his fingers cut off and vanishing with muffled screams into the night, while the giant gives a helping hand and a blind eye to the loss of lives and fingers and tongues and gouged eye sockets and supporting regimes and training fanatics who run riot until they bump into David practicing his aim. David, who finally pokes his brown little head out of the cave and hits a goddamn bullseye. Atlanta's burning, the sky is falling. Where are my smelling salts? All that fire burning. Atlanta, Afghanistan, Wall Street, Kuwait, they all look the same. There's poor little children hiding in the hills, in the caves, under desks, running down fire stairs, roasting, trapped in the elevators 94 stories high. Heroes sacrificing their lives smashed into concrete as they try to save the dead. They all look the same. I shouldn't think too much. Stick to the headlines, because otherwise I start to think too much. I think about why Atlanta's burning, and why David hates Goliath, and why Kuwait and Afghanistan sound the same, and why it all seems to be about the deed to the Holy Land and stepping into 5,000-year-old shit and the millennium hanging over our heads like the sword of Damocles with a nuclear warhead, and the second coming, and the golden parachutes, and the Battle of Armageddon, and economic globalization, and the fall of Enron, and the oil concerns in the Middle East, and Dick Cheney on the board, and will the real Antichrist please stand up in the sky, falling down upon our heads, and the world changing forever in 8 seconds? I remember that night the wind changed. The air was filled with concrete and dust and death. I ran inside and I found an old pickle jar. I took the jar out on my terrace into the cloud of air swirling with the souls of the dead. I opened the jar and I caught the air like lightning bugs. I scooped in as much air as the jar could hold. All the dust and death and pain and hopes and dreams and bad breath floating in the dusk. I scooped them into the jar so I could always have them. So I could always remember Francis Saverio Riccardelli, planner of family fun.
Oh my God. Woo! Brilliant.